The rain had stopped hours ago, but the streets still shimmered under the glow of sodium lamps. The town, once quiet in its old southern dignity, now breathed differently, as if the air itself had changed the moment Gabriel Towers took his last breath. Jesse sat on the edge of the bed in his old room. The strings of his guitar whispered without rhythm. His fingers moved, but there was no melody, just noise and memory. His phone buzzed once, then silence. He already knew. His mother's voice was barely above a whisper. "Francis, on the phone." "Jesse, he's gone." No sobs, no words of comfort. Just those 3 syllables that fell like stones into the dark. He closed his eyes, and somewhere inside a door cracked open, a memory buried deep. He was 6 years old. The morning was gray, wet. He remembered the police at the front door, the way his mother held his hand too tightly, how her knuckles turned white. He didn't remember what the officers said, only the weight in the air and how something inside her broke without a sound. That was the day his father died. He hadn't thought about it in years. Now, 20 years later, another man was gone. Another father figure, if you could call him that. Gabriel Towers, a name spoken like thunder across 3 counties. Banker, builder, the man who held the town in the palm of his hand. The man Jesse had walked away from. Now that man was in a wooden box, 6 feet beneath the land he once ruled. The funeral was full, not out of love, but out of legacy. Men in black suits, women in pearls, politicians, pastors, old enemies wearing the mask of grief. And they didn't come to say goodbye. They came to see who would rise next. And all eyes fell on Jesse Towers, the runaway heir with a guitar on his back and no title to his name. He stood beside his mother, hands at his sides, heart beating too loud. And he felt it, the weight of expectation, the quiet judgment, the whispers. Man whispered in crowd, "That's the boy, the singer?" Woman whispering back, "He's not his father and sure as hell not Gabriel." Jesse didn't flinch. He didn't cry. He just stared at the coffin as the earth swallowed it whole. Not because he didn't feel, but because he didn't know what to feel. That evening the house was too quiet. Even the wood in the floorboards creaked differently. Francis approached him with a simple envelope, yellowed, sealed by hand, and marked only with a name. Jesse. Inside, Gabriel's handwriting. Firm, controlled, final. "You think I left you money, I left you a question. You think you walked away from this family, but some things walk with you. Go to my study, look in the safe. If you want to understand your father, start there." Jesse read the letter twice, then once more. He didn't sleep that night. When the dawn finally broke, he opened the safe in the old study. Inside, a single brass key and a rolled-up floor plan of the house. An older version, marked on it in faded red ink. Lower archive access, sealed post-89. A room that didn't exist anymore. At least, not on paper. The doorbell rang just after sunrise. Jesse opened it to find Walter Brooks standing on the porch. Older than he remembered, with the same sharp eyes, but heavier now, like he carried something no one else would. They sat in the study. Neither touched the coffee. The air between them was filled with old wood, dust, and unspoken tension. "Your grandfather didn't leave you instructions, Jesse," Walter said. "He left you a mess." Jesse didn't respond, just waited. Walter slid a folder across the desk. Inside, legal notices, property records, asset transfers. 3 properties already gone, 2 more contested, including the land behind this house. Jesse frowned. "That's part of our backyard." "Not anymore. It's been quietly reassigned through a shell company. You know who's behind it?" Jesse looked up. Jose Mendez. Jesse leaned back. The name was starting to sound like a threat, not a man. He's been buying up everything your grandfather wouldn't touch. Motels, clubs, pawn shops, liquor stores. He came in through the cracks. And now he's everywhere. Why the house? Walter hesitated. Because this house blocks him. Literally, legally, strategically. There's something here he wants. And he's getting impatient. That night, Jesse walked the town alone. The places he remembered were still there, but dressed in new skin. Neon signs, Spanish slogans, new men at the doors. He passed the club where he used to play. He wasn't recognized, didn't expect to be. Behind the building, a back door was open. He stopped when he heard voices. "Once the house goes, it's done," said one. "Everything links through there," said another, "and the kid doesn't even know what he's sitting on." Jesse stepped back, heart pounding. Something wasn't right. He returned home, unfolded the blueprint from the safe, laid it on the table. A red mark, lower archive access, sealed post-89. A room that didn't exist anymore. He stared at it long into the night, and for the first time Jesse realized he wasn't just standing on family history. He was standing on a secret. He found the invitation waiting in his inbox. No name, just an address, a time, a line at the bottom that read, "Better to talk than guess." Jesse hesitated. He already knew who it was from. Later that night, he arrived at the address. An upscale lounge on the edge of town, tucked behind a shuttered auto shop. The kind of place that didn't need a sign because the right people already knew. The bouncer didn't stop him. He was expected. Inside, velvet booths and amber lights. A jazz trio played in the corner. It felt expensive, but cold, like the place had been designed to impress and intimidate at the same time. At a private table near the back sat Jose Mendez. Crisp suit, no tie, glass of mezcal in his hand, and a smile that didn't touch his eyes. "Jesse Towers," he said, standing slowly. "Finally, I've been wanting to meet the man who made such a beautiful mess of my schedule." Jesse didn't shake his hand. He sat down, waited. Jose poured him a drink. "I hear you're not a fan of people like me," Jose said. "Or maybe just not a fan of change." Jesse ignored the bait. "I'm not selling the house." Jose laughed. "Of course you're not. Not yet." He sipped. "But I think you will. Eventually. Everyone does. Time changes people. Bills change people. Fear changes people." "You don't scare me," Jesse said. Jose smiled wider. "Good. I respect that. Your grandfather, he didn't scare easy either. Though he was a different kind of animal. Old school. Big teeth. Slow bite." "And my father?" Jesse asked quietly. His smile dropped. "Just a little." Jose tapped a finger on his glass. "Your father, he played a dangerous game. Thought he was clever. Thought no one saw him slipping keys under tables." Jesse's pulse jumped. "What does that mean?" "It means he got in the way of something bigger than him." Jose leaned in now, voice low. "And I'm giving you the chance he never took. You get to walk away. Take your inheritance, your guitars, your freedom. Leave this place behind. Let it rot. It's already half gone." Jesse didn't move. Jose leaned back again, smirking. "You won't get many chances to say no, Jesse. Use this one wisely." He stood, tossed a black envelope onto the table. Inside, a blank purchase agreement and a check with a blank amount line. "Fill it in yourself," Josie said. "You know what it's worth to me." Then he walked away. He sat in his truck for almost 20 minutes before going inside. The black envelope was still on the passenger seat, unopened. The numbers didn't matter. The message was clear. Sell, or be swallowed. Inside, the house was dark, quiet, too quiet. He found Walter in the kitchen, sipping coffee like he'd never left. Jesse dropped the envelope on the table. Walter raised an eyebrow, opened it, and grunted, "I figured he'd make you an offer." "Didn't say it out loud," Jesse replied. "He didn't have to." Walter set the papers down and stared into his cup for a long moment. Then he finally spoke. "Jose Mendez came here 11 years ago. Said he wanted to build something." "A new life?" Jesse asked. "No," Walter said. "A new network." He got up and walked to the window. He started with cash businesses, a taco stand, then a pawn shop, then 3 motels on the highway, all in cash, no debt, no partners. He was laundering? At first I thought so, but Jose, he's smarter than that. He didn't just clean money. He built infrastructure. Thin walls, no questions, weekly turnover. Then he bought a courier company, gas stations, clubs, bars, everything your grandfather wouldn't touch because it felt dirty. And now? Now those places are his arteries, his lifeblood, and this town, it's his body. Jesse leaned forward. "Why the house, Walter? Why does he care about our land?" Walter sighed. "Because this house sits on something older than either of you. Your great-grandfather helped build the original water system. There were emergency tunnels dug into the hillside, part of an old maintenance route before modern plumbing came through. Tunnels, dried now, sealed after the city upgraded. But there's one line that was never officially closed, and that line runs straight under this house and past the edge of town." Jesse blinked. "Past the edge?" Walter nodded slowly. "Old maps say it follows the riverbed, south, and further south is the border." Silence stretched between them. Jesse stood up, pacing slowly, his mind racing. "He wants the tunnel." "He wants everything," Walter replied. "But that tunnel? That's the missing piece. Discreet, undocumented, private. If he owns the house, he owns the access." Jesse turned, voice sharper now. "And my father?" Walter hesitated. He looked away. "Your father found that tunnel again. Months before he died. He started asking questions. He talked about going to the authorities. He never got the chance." Jesse felt the floor shift beneath him. "You think Mendez had him killed?" Walter didn't answer. He didn't need to. That night, Jesse waited until the house was still. He moved through the old corridors with care, passing photographs that no longer comforted him. In the hallway behind the kitchen, near the oldest part of the foundation, he found it. The door wasn't hidden, just forgotten. Half sealed with drywall and yellowing paint. At the bottom, a rusted vent, just wide enough for a man to crawl through. He peeled back the corner. Dust. Rick. A cold draft rising from somewhere deeper. He grabbed a flashlight and followed the old blueprint in his mind. Behind the wine rack in the cellar, a loose stone. Behind that, nothing at first. But when he pressed hard enough, the wall gave way. A hollow sound. He knocked again, and heard it echo back. A space. Empty. Waiting. He didn't go in. Not yet. Just stood there, light in one hand, map in the other. He didn't feel afraid. Not exactly. But the air was colder than it should have been. Older than it should have been. Something about it felt unfinished. He stepped back, closed the blueprint, and left the flashlight on the table. Maybe he'd check it out in the morning. Maybe not. He still believed this was just about property, about money, about leverage. He still believed he could fix it. With talk, with lawyers, with logic. But deep down, something else had already begun to stir. And far beneath the house, past stone and soil, and years of silence, something waited at night. Jesse waited until the house was still. He moved through the old corridors with care, passing photographs that no longer comforted him. In the hallway behind the kitchen, near the oldest part of the foundation, he found it. The door wasn't hidden, just forgotten. Half sealed, with drywall and yellowing paint. At the bottom, a rusted vent, just wide enough for a man to crawl through. He peeled back the corner. Brick. A cold draft rising from somewhere deeper. He grabbed a flashlight and followed the old blueprint in his mind. Behind the wine rack in the cellar, a loose stone. Behind that, nothing at first. But when he pressed hard enough, the wall gave way. How was that? He knocked again, and heard it echo back. A space, empty, waiting. He didn't go in. Not yet. Just stood there, light in one hand, map in the other. He didn't feel afraid. Not exactly. But the air was colder than it should have been. Older than it should have been. Something about it felt unfinished. He stepped back, closed the blueprint, and left the flashlight on the table. Maybe he'd check it out in the morning. Maybe not. He still believed this was just about property. About money. About leverage. He still believed he could fix it. With talk, with lawyers, with logic. But deep down, something else had already begun to stir. And far beneath the house, past stone and soil and years of silence, something waited. Please subscribe to this channel to follow Jess's story. New episodes to come.